All right, Bang. Today is Tuesday. It's September 27th. Welcome to the Dog Walk, presented by Barstool Sports. Chief, as always, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Yeah.
Doing well. As of right now, people know we recorded the day before.
Mm-hmm.
I've yet to see the Bears game.
Good for you.
Yeah. So
You know what? Don't.
I have to watch it for work obligations, obviously. So I'm going to.
I don't want you to. You're my guy. I don't want you to have to sit through that.
I'm a little concerned.
It might have been the worst passing game performance I've seen as a Bears fan.
That's impossible.
No, it's not.
I mean, we saw Jonathan Quinn,
Nope.
Greg Krenzel.
All right.
We saw some bad Henry Burris. We've seen some bad dudes.
And it's been like 20 years since those guys, but those guys, the part of it is that those guys were always third stringers. They were at desperation. It's because some other bum got hurt.
Definitely. Listen, I get your point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was atrocious. And I'm a Fields guy. I'm a Fields guy.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
It was like I was just like, what the hell is going on? It was that bad. Like, what do you do? What are you even trying there while guys are running wide open?
Yikes.
It was bad. So have fun. You watching that tonight? Monday Night Football?
Yeah, probably. Oh no. I'm more scared than I knew it wasn't good, but now I'm more afraid than I anticipated.
Yeah. Is it hurt because I've been a Justin Fields supporter?
Yeah,
and I still
we
am.
were also on Red Line Radio last week. We were a little bit on opposite sides of the argument.
Yeah.
Not completely far apart, but we just had a good debate.
Yeah.
About, I don't know. We'll talk more about it on Red Line.
Yeah, listen to Red Line.
Also, if you want to get tickets to a Bears game this season, where can they get it, Chief?
Go to GameTime. And as the season goes along, they're going to be a little bit cheaper because while they are 2-1 now, it's that winning record. Those days are fading. Although it's like I was looking at the schedule. They go Giants, Vikings, Commanders. That they could be 4-2. It's not impossible.
And they could lose all three.
Or they could lose all three, but they could be 4-2. But game time, no matter what you're doing, concerts, hockey season's about to start. The Bulls are going to be decent again. You want to get on Game Time to get all your last minute ticket needs.
Yeah, it's the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. It's created by fans for fans. It's a new ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. If you haven't given them a shot yet, I don't know what you're doing. You guys are going to love this app. A lot of our fans are hitting us up on social, and they're getting great deals, so go do it. It's easy to use, amazing deals, and it's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the U.S. You're going to love it. Download the GameTime app, go to the account tab to create a login and redeem code DOGWALK for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Download GameTime, last-minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Chief, what is our topic of the day besides
the
poor
Bears
quarterback play?
Yeah, well, that's just, it's something that is kind of on loop, like the Bears are on loop. It's unrest in the Middle East and unrest in Iran. And I would say that basically my entire life, if I were to close my eyes and be like, who hates America the most? It would be Iran. Like they're kind of the answer to that. Now, there's a lot of people in the running for that, but they're having and they're Iran it's one of the oldest countries in the world. Like it was Persia, they had the Persian Empire, and and then they went through the turmoil in the 50s. Obviously, the hostage. Everyone thinks the hostage situation. If you've seen the movie Argo, or you just generally follow history, they had a war with Iraq, and they've just been like a thorn in our side, or we've been a thorn in their side, really since World War II, and now they've had about 40 years of rule now, a little bit over 40 years of this. Far right, their theocracy, which basically like it's the rule of Islamic law is the governing body, and that came in with the Iranian Revolution in '79, which saw the terrorists take the hostages and all that, and now the people are saying no more. And have you ever seen the movie Gangs in New York? I'm gonna guess the answer is no.
Dude, I haven't, and I know that's a bad one.
It's been
on my list for a long time.
Yeah.
I want to see like every Leo movie. So, and I know it's great, but no, I haven't.
Yeah, and it's
you've said that, you've called me out on that before.
Yeah,
anyways.
Bill the Butcher is like one of my favorite movie characters ever, and that's I'm blanking on. I'm so bad at celebrity names, but Daniel
Daniel
Day-Lewis.
Day-Lewis,
Thank
yeah.
you, Harry. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Harry.
So there's a line in that movie, and it goes, and it's DiCaprio talking. He goes, "The earth turns, but we don't feel it. And one night you look up, one spark, and the whole sky is on fire." And that might be what's happening in Iran right now, because these protests are not only just Iranians all over their own country, but there's been protests and marches and things by Iranians who are expats. Like they showed these thousands of people, like literally thousands of people in Berlin, who are talking about what happened to this girl. And this girl, her name is Mahsa Amini, and she's 22 years old. Was 22 years old. She's from the like the northwest part of Iran, and she was visiting Tehran with her family. And she's seen wearing, this is all comes down to Islamic law and the hijab, which is, you know, the head covering scarf that you've seen in Iran in particular, because they are this theocracy. When Khomeini, who became the leader in 78, 79, he was in exile, he came back. He said that if you're not covered, and it's like you can't show any hair, and you're supposed to really limit even like how much of your face you show. And if you don't do that, he considers you to be naked. Okay, so when you think of like the black, like the most traditional hijab, that's what is really predominant there. Okay, so she is arrested by something called the morality police, and there's videos of this. And so she's arrested. She's wearing a hijab, but it's just not to like their standards. And they like, that is literally the name of the group, of this force. It's called the morality police. Like, that was not being like glib or tongue in cheek. They're there to enforce Islamic law. And so they're like, hey, like, you're not wearing your hijab the right way. You're coming with us. And they take her and they throw her in the back of the van, and you can see her head hit the van. She's away from her family for 3 days, and then they announce that she's died. And Iranian, I don't know, like their government, the security forces come out and say, she had a heart attack while she was in custody. To which everybody around the country and around the world said, bullshit. Like, we saw it. And so there were all these, like, people were like, you know, they were already protesting this hijab law, because they had arrested this guy, or they had elected this guy, rather, a new prime minister. He took over about a year ago. And then on August 15th, he announced that there's going to be a new surveillance system. Okay, cameras, internet, you know, just watching people. And if you're a woman and you're caught in public not wearing the hijab or not wearing it properly, then you're, you know, like, number one, you're being monitored all the time. Okay, you're walking down the street. Hey, like, we see a girl on, you know, West Tehran Street or whatever. I mean, I don't know any streets in Tehran, but go snatch her up. She's not wearing that the right way. So you get fined. You can be arrested. You have to go to like they would send you to counseling about why the hijab is good and why you have to wear it. And it was just basically this very oppressive thing. So they had this, and people were already angry about it and protesting. And if you created content and posted it online that was anti-hijab or anti, like,
morality police,
anti-morality police or anything else, mandatory jail time.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So that's what was going on. Like, there was already these kind of protests, and this is why I brought up that quote about one spark and the whole sky is on fire. Mahsa Amini, they turned her into a martyr for this cause, and it became not just anti hijab or like what they did to her was fucked up. It's now like this whole government is fucked up. So people are, like I said, taking to the streets, and they made this girl, and they turned her into a martyr. And now you see these clips where it's thousands of people, and the government has like cracked down hard. They took away the internet, so you couldn't post any of these protests. So you had to have Elon Musk to the rescue, like kind of like what he did with Ukraine. That guy should get like a Nobel Prize. So you have all these people who are like oppressed or in war-torn areas where the government's just like, we're shutting down the internet, and Elon Musk comes around and is like, no, you're not. I'm going to send Starlink and get that internet back up. So now you're seeing more of these videos come out in the last couple of days, because more people, not everybody, but more people have access to the internet because Elon Musk did whatever he did with his outer space satellites and sent Starlink there so people can get on their phones again. So, but that's the story about what's going on. But it is like, and who knows how it's going to end. Like, they've been through this revolutionary process before. So it really, and I've other people have said that, you know, historically, the Middle East caused no like real problems, right? Like, you talk about the Crusades, like that was, you know, medieval times, but we were going into the, you know, the Christians from Europe were going into the Middle East and were like, you know, caught like invading, causing problems, but that was always like a peaceful area. People point to what happened after World War II and the CIA. Do you know about that? Like, what led to the Iranian Revolution?
No.
Okay, so, and this is where they think like we fucked up because we got involved in their affairs over oil, like literally over oil. It's declassified documents, and it was like a Cold War thing, and that is what really led to 70 years now of a destabilized Middle East where it's just nothing but war and extremism and terrorism and all sorts of bad shit coming out of there, and it goes back to 1953. So Iran and the Middle East, it had always, you know, the British Empire went everywhere. They carved everything up, and then they had struck a deal with the royal family of Iran, with these people who they call them shahs, but they're really just kings, they're royals, where it's like, we're going to set up shop here and pump oil out, because now it's like the 50s, like the car is a thing, highways are becoming a thing, oil is like a bigger deal than it was 100 years previously. So you guys have a shit ton of it. We're going to set up a deal where you guys get 16%. Iran, you get 16% of the net profits to do what you please with. 16%. It's their fucking oil. The company, it was Anglo-Persian Petroleum, which has now, the company still exists. It's just changed its name. It's BP. All your gas stations, it's British Petroleum. It's like that's what it is. And so they set up this deal, and the Shah was like, great, fucking great. Like, I'll take 16%. I don't have to lift a finger, and I can just keep it. I'll be like the wealthiest guy in the world, and you guys do all the work, fucking great. But the problem was none of the people had it. So this guy, they have like the monarch who has a lot of power. It's not like the British monarch. He has a lot of power. And then they have like a democratic system, and they elect this guy, and he as prime minister, and he's like, this deal fucking sucks. Let's get rid of these guys. We'll nationalize the oil, and we'll keep it, distribute it amongst the people. And so he does that. Well, that pissed off Britain, and then Britain called us, and we're like, well, what should we do about this? Because they made him seem like, well, he's nationalizing it. Well, that's what the communists do. So he's got to be influenced by the Soviet Union, and the Soviets and Russia had kind of a long history in that region too. So then, that was the peak of the Cold War. So we get involved, and we plan this whole coup. We're like, let's get rid of this fucking guy that the Iranians elected democratically themselves, because he's stealing the oil from us as if it was ours. And so they had this massive campaign that was newspaper propaganda, radio shows. They hired people to say that they were communists in Iran, like acting on behalf of the prime minister, and they would go around and like harass like religious clerics and blow up mosques and like have these like violent protests. They're all agents of the CIA and British MI6. Like we're going to plant them there to like sow discontent so we can get rid of the Shah. And then they're going to have this other guy, Zahidi, who is going to be the new prime minister. Okay. And Zahidi had like said like anti-Western things publicly. So they're like, well, let's just pay him off. We'll put him in charge, and that'll give us cover. No one will ever think he's on our side because he's already said these things that he doesn't like us, but we'll just buy him off. So that's what they did. And then people kind of basically found out, and the Shah assumed power. They got rid of the other prime minister, and he was like the guy, and he was like killing all political rivals, and he ruled for 25 years. And then like that, the Iranian Revolution happens, and like Iran's a whole different country. And that was, but it was really just, it started with us fucking around in 1953. So the reason the hijab and like that situation created like this extremism was because anybody who was seen to be like wearing their hair or having like fucking jeans or doing anything that was associated with Western culture, you're immediately the enemy. Mm-hmm. So it's like that was, so like you guys created this situation where they're suspicious of anyone and allowed these people who are more extreme on the other side to come in, put all these laws together and really crack down. And they've been having like protests that would flare up here and there. And I remember like they had very like, I think it was 2000. What year did Michael Jackson die? 09?
2010. Yeah,
10?
09, 10.
Something like that. Where they were, it was like international news. All these protests were happening in Iran in 09. Then Michael Jackson died. So that story went away because Michael Jackson was the biggest story of the world. And then it was like, I don't even know what happened to it.
I think we've talked about this before, but there needs to be a list of topics that got buried, like the biggest burials.
Oh, that would be a good, yeah.
It would be a great topic.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before. I forgot.
I wonder
exactly
if we could do
what
a
it was
draft.
about.
It'd be hard to do like the research.
Oh, like
for
the
it.
biggest storylines that got buried.
Yeah.
Fuck, who was it recently that died? Then someone else died the next day, and it was like,
I mean, I think that's probably what is always stealing somebody's thunder. Like,
yeah.
So someone more important than you died. So we're done talking about
exactly.
you. It was probably the Queen of England. Like somebody died, and then the Queen of England died. Well, so we better have 10
fuck, it was recent too.
Yeah, well, that's why I said it must have been the Queen. So who died right before the Queen?
No, it wasn't that. It was like it was this year.
Okay.
But I don't know. Actually, Chief, this seems like a good time to pause and talk about ChevyDriveChicago.com.
Yeah, I love Chevy.
You love Chevy. ChevyDriveChicago.com has what you need for the road. Now they want you to fuel your football season. You could enter a chance to win $500, a $500 gift card to cover your tailgate party, gas to get to the game, and whatever you might need to host the ultimate tailgate. There will be multiple winners, so you could enter to win at ChevyDriveChicago.com. Multiple winners is nice.
Yeah, so it's not just one person. Everybody's going to have a chance to throw a great tailgate. That $500 goes a long way. Gas prices are going back up now, and like there is just something about that Chevy Silverado too. Like if you go in and see one like that, to me, like that's a truck. That's when you pop that tailgate down. That's America right there.
You just smell tailgate off that. Smell it. So there's nothing like a tailgate with a Chevy Silverado. Check out all you need to know about the new Silverado at ChevyDriveChicago.com. One more time, just check that website out, ChevyDriveChicago.com, and you enter a chance to win a $500 gift card to cover your tailgate party, gas to get to the game, and whatever you need to be the ultimate host. Mm-hmm. All right, Chief. So
it's the best.
Yeah,
I love Chevy. Best. Yeah.
Wow, I wish I could think of it.
I wish you could too.
I don't know.
I wish you could
try to
too.
Google while you can continue.
So it's one of these places, these flashpoints now that you have thousands and thousands of people on the street. I think the number I just said was 41 people have been killed, hundreds have been arrested, and it's like, is this going to be a thing that actually topples the Iranian government? And is that something that people around the world even want right now? Because it feels like the whole world is on a razor's edge, and we're heading into this winter where Putin could just shut off the pipeline to Europe, and all of a sudden there's just, people are, I saw this story the other day where there was a German family who had a heating bill, $1,500 a month. It was normally $140. It's gone up 10x.
Jeez.
Okay, or whatever that math is. Harry, you a math guy? No math guy. But $1,500 heating bill in September because they had a little snap cold. Turn the heat on. Fuck, that's insanity. Okay, so there's just less supply everywhere, all over the world. So I feel like if this had happened 7-8 years ago, we might be like, yeah, let's see if we can push that and just, it's something's a little wobbly and we've been at odds with that regime for 40 fucking years. Let's just push it over a little, get them a little bit of support. Now it's like, well, we don't want to have they have sanctions on them and whatever, but a lot of their oil still gets to the world markets. They sell it to China. So then you could have even just more competition for a smaller piece of the pie if this thing gets really sideways and the government collapses and the country collapses and you have another place where you just can't extract the oil the way that the way that you should be able to be during peace times. And it's a very bad situation. And I feel like every time I go on the internet, there's protests being highlighted somewhere. China's got crazy protests. There's protests all over Europe. They have the Dutch farmers. You got German farmers. French people are protesting. Italy basically just elected their first ever female prime minister. That was basically a protest election.
Dude, I feel like we've been covering protests on the show a lot recently.
I've never seen anything like this in my life. Like, there are every single corner of the world, and wait until there's no gas, heat, or food this winter. And that's coming. Like, that's coming. And prices are going to go through the roof. And you just, like, there's nothing like a food protest. And I think we've maybe done an episode about that before. Like, all the times where food scarcity has toppled regimes and toppled governments, because it's like, hey, like, if I don't have a place to live and I can't eat, this is fucked, and I'm not adhering to any of the social norms and any of these guidelines anymore that the government sets up. Like, fuck this. And then people go and lose, it's not even that I was going to say they lose their minds. They're actually perfectly sane. Yeah. Like, you have to be able to eat. And if you don't have access to energy and food, well, then all bets are off. And it feels like that's what's coming, that people are angry, and you're seeing these these movements all over the world, literally all over the world. You're having food protests in Central and South America. You're having, there's, the COVID policy protests in China. There's, there was just a shooting in Russia about, because Putin had called up 300,000 reservists. So a guy showed up to the enlistment place and just lit it up. I think he killed like 20 people. There's going to be protests fucking everywhere. And protest seems like the solution that is the best, as opposed to full-scale revolutions all over the world, toppling governments all over the world. But it's kind of, it's that Strauss-Howe. Feels like it is. We've referenced it, I don't know, a dozen times since that first episode we did, but it does feel like everything is on a knife's edge right now. And you can add what's going on in Iran to that list. And it's like, I think everybody, probably Western people like us, were like, yeah, like, you shouldn't be thrown in jail for not wearing your head covering the right way or killed for it. But it's also, but who knows if anyone's going to take action to actually support them, other than people like Musk, who can give them the internet so they can get their story out and they can organize properly. But it's a scary time. And it's, we open the show talking about the Bears. Thank God that's our biggest problem.
Yeah, right.
And it is. That's probably my biggest problem right now. It's Justin Fields. And it's like, that is like the ultimate, you want to talk about privilege. Like, fuck, that's it.
Totally.
Yeah. So,
totally.
But it's wild to watch. And it's like a tragedy that this girl, Mahsa Amini, on a little family trip, just, nope. Your hair's out, so you throw in a van, break your skull.
Yeah, that's
fucked.
Very awful. Yeah. Very awful.
But it's good, because I feel like it's not getting a ton of coverage. But it's a crazy story. So I feel like every once in a while, it's good to venture into stuff like this.
Yeah, so we used to do these on Wednesday once in a while, World News Wednesday.
Yep.
But sometimes we flip them over here a little bit.
Yep.
Also, I looked it up, and it makes sense why that hit my brain, because Farrah Fawcett died the same day as Michael Jackson. Yeah.
All right. So she
just got completely overtaken.
I would have, if you asked me if she was still alive, I would have said yes, because that's how overshadowed it got. Because that was Charlie's Angels, Farrah Fawcett, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And then there's a couple other big ones. Ray Charles died 5 days after Ronald Reagan.
You're lost. You're lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
There's a bunch of them.
What'd you Google? Whose deaths got overshadowed?
Yes, exactly. Heath Ledger and Brad Renfro.
Who, I don't even know who Brad Renfro is.
He was trying to think. He was in Tom and Huck. He was in Bully. You would know him if you saw him.
What's it say it is then?
He was a child actor.
Todd?
Brad Renfro.
Brad?
I love that Tom and Huck movie. You would know him if you saw him, I think.
Oh, yeah, I recognize him.
Yeah, he was in Sleepers, which is a very underrated movie. You ever seen Sleepers?
No, I haven't.
I got you, motherfucker. Go see Sleepers. Sleepers is awesome.
Is it a Creep movie?
No.
What's it about?
It's actually, I don't know how. It gets slept on hard. So it's about a bunch of boys in New York City, they steal a hot dog cart and they throw the hot dog cart. I know. Right when I said that, I was like, he's going to be like, sounds like a fucking Eddie movie.
Yeah.
No, but it's sick. They steal a hot dog cart and they accidentally let it go down a subway stair.
Okay.
And it takes out some lady and it kills her. And so all the boys get sent to a boys' home. And at the boys' home, they get brutally beat, raped, like everything. Like it's super serious.
Is it a true story?
It is a true story. However, there is some.
Yeah, they Hollywood it.
Yeah, there is some dispute about it. But like, I mean, the cast is star-studded. Like one of the guards is Kevin Bacon. And then
I've got it pulled up here.
Robert De Niro is a priest.
It says Brad Pitt, Billy Cudrup. Like it's kind of a big.
It's a star-studded, dude. It's an
De
awesome
Niro?
movie. Yeah, De Niro's a priest.
I've never even heard of it.
I know, dude. I'm telling you, it's like somehow like slips through the cracks.
The reason I laughed is because when you said that, it reminded me of that story about. I watched the clip just popped up for me for whatever reason last week, where you burnt yourself on dry ice because you were stealing from an ice cream man. And then you're like, well, that ice cream man was an asshole. He punched my buddy's mom in the face. I was just like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
He did, dude.
Yeah. So, but that could have been you in Sleepers. You stole.
Possibly,
you got burned.
dude.
If you stole it, the guy chases you. You know who knows what
people
happens.
used to snatch their bikes too.
Yeah.
Fucking Valentine, dude. Valentine was a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He got banned from Hiawatha Park.
I bet he
He
did.
had to sit across the street after that. But no, it's a super underrated movie.
I might have to check it out.
Yes.
Yeah, 1996. I have it up. What do you guess the Rotten Tomato score is? Do you care about Rotten Tomato scores?
Audience or critics?
It just says Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm gonna guess it was in the 80s.
73.
Okay.
So.
All right. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. It's a very. I mean, it's fucked up. It's very
Sounds
fucked up.
fucked up. So audience score is 85.
Okay.
So
all right, I'm right there with the audience.
Yeah.
I like being with the people, not with the fucking
people
I would that agree point their finger at you.
Yeah. Well, the Jeff DeLoes of the world.
Yeah, the Jeff DeLoes of the world.
I use that movierankings.net all the time.
Yeah, it's
all
great.
the time.
It's great. There's actually some good movies. Oh, the Dahmer one. I gotta watch that. People are telling me to watch
it. Yeah.
It's like a series of like 10.
WSD said he started that. It was very good. Yep.
It's gonna sound so fucked up. I'm just so knowledgeable on Dahmer that I just don't know what. You
What
ever
else
get
they
that
could
way?
add?
Like with a topic?
I'm trying to think of something that would apply.
Like history or something, World War II.
But there's just like
there's so much.
Anything with the Kennedy family, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like
I would say a lot of the I get that's probably the one, Harry, where it's like, hey, like this groundbreaking, they always bill it this way because they've had like the 50th anniversary in the last so many years, then the 60th, and then it's like, oh, okay, like we'll watch this History Channel special. I'm like, I already knew all that shit. Yeah, so
and it's the same thing like when I watch like a Belushi doc or something, or like I'm always like, oh shit, like
I will say though that that Through the Looking Glass Kennedy assassination, there was Oliver Stone put it out like within the last year. A lot of stuff I didn't know.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What would you recommend? Would you recommend that JFK movie in the 90s?
Yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
With Costner.
That's good. Yeah.
But and that's Oliver Stone too. So Oliver, that's a line in the movie.
Sounds like you and Oliver Stone need to get into a room.
I would love to get in a room with Oliver Stone. He's done Rogan and some of those like monster podcasts talking specifically. Like he'll talk about some of the movies, like the Vietnam movies he made, but he talked a lot about the Kennedy. He's obsessed with it. So there's that one. But it's like that's one of those things because I've seen so much that I can't parse out what I think actually happened.
Yeah. Because
it's like there's this one that was like Beyond the Smoking Gun or something like that, which gets into like the ballistics and the forensics of it, and it makes you think that the cover up was like the final killing of Kennedy. It makes you think that it was a Secret Service agent discharged his gun by accident as the motorcade sped up, and that was like the final kill shot. And it's like, but then you watch other things and it was like, well, they were probably trying to kill him, and then it's like they were probably just thrilled that he was going to get away with just the one shot, and then like the conspiracy was like the cover up to be like, where there's smoke there's fire, we don't want to go down in this thing, and like we better make it
so fucked up.
Yeah. but they still have documents that they won't release. It's been like,
Oh yeah.
it's like, well, who are you trying to protect? Everyone involved has got to be dead. But then it's like you look at who was on that. We should do an episode on that. But you look at who was on that Warren Commission.
Like the PayPal mafia.
Yeah, okay, right. But on the Warren Commission, it was like just a bunch of people like, like Arlen Specter. Okay, you know that name is like a big. He was like the big. I think he was like the Deflate or Spygate guy.
Yeah.
But he started out as like a lawyer on that. Then you had Gerald Ford, who was somehow on that. You know, Gerald Ford was never elected to anything.
No.
Just like, oh, there's a vacant seat. Let's appoint Gerald Ford. Let's appoint him again. That vice president got whacked out for something, Agnew or whatever. He gets slid in for as VP, and then Nixon has to resign. So Ford gets the presidency. Never won election. Harry's nodding his head because he's a Michigan guy. He played football for Michigan. Gerald Ford did. And then he was just like a guy who just kind of rose through the ranks without ever really fucking doing anything.
Shook the right hands.
Yeah,
Shook the right
exactly.
hands.
Shook the right hands.
All right then, Chief. Thank you. Appreciate it. That's it for today, everybody. We'll be back tomorrow. We will see you then.